All right, good evening and welcome to Sunday Evening Coffee. I am Brian, and sitting right beside me tonight is my beautiful wife, Crystal. Say hello, babe.
Hey, guys.
Down at the other end of the table, Jennifer and Jason Zach.
Hello.
And so now we have Brandon and Sabrina James.
Hey.
They're newlyweds, and we wanted to have them on because they were in our marriage class, and we got to know them pretty well. And we thought it might be cool to sit down with somebody who was freshly married. In fact, you guys got married when?
May 20th.
May 20th. So we're like a month out. So a month after their wedding and their honeymoon. And so we're just going to...
You have to subtract the honeymoon. That doesn't count.
Yeah, well, it's not...
That's not reality.
It's not reality.
That's true.
It's not.
Yeah.
So basically, you got like, what, a weekend of being really married. And on a side note, if you're in Nashville and you need your windows tinted, you need to reach out to me because Brandon will hook you up. He tinted my windows yesterday in my car, and today I got in from church, and it was surprisingly cooler than what it normally is.
Good
It
deal.
didn't take a layer off.
Awesome.
I got tired of Crystal going, you have to get your windows tinted. It burns my leg every time I do it.
Like sears, like smoke comes out.
Yeah. So,
It's bad.
did a great job.
Thank you.
And I still haven't rolled my windows down because there's a sticker that says not to.
There you go.
Here's how I am. I'm the person who worries I'm going to accidentally turn the garbage disposal on when I have to like get something out of it.
Oh.
I would immediately panic and think I'm going to hit the button. Might as well go ahead.
Roll through the bank and just...
And on a side note, it is 77 degrees in our
It's
house.
hot. I'm sweating.
The air has been running nonstop. It was 70 good this morning when we got up, but the heat's just bad.
I think we need a love offering for electricity.
Yeah. Although since Crystal's sister moved out, our water bill went down by like $35 last month.
Wow.
We love you, Taylor.
And we still love you.
Taylor.
And our power bill went down, so it's
It's all good.
Right on.
You're
anyway.
living high in the hog now.
We're going to buy Wright's bacon every week.
Hey, your bacon money now is right.
Oh my gosh! I'll tell you where it does. Speaking of bacon, we got bacon at Fresh Market last week.
Yeah.
That
And
bacon.
steaks. They were great.
I like Fresh Market.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have good stuff there.
We went there last night, got some
Burgers.
blue cheeseburgers, and they were
Ooh.
tasty.
Sometimes you can find some good deals. Sometimes you can't,
No.
but sometimes
Sometimes
you
you
can.
can.
Yeah.
I'd say it's like 80-20.
Yeah.
But
Pretty much.
Aldi has sugar-free bacon.
We got pepper
Oh.
bacon.
They
The
do?
thick
Pepper
stuff,
bacon,
yeah. It's really good.
No.
has nitrates in it, which is really bad.
So you
part.
might get cancer,
Might
but
get
there's
cancer
no
for getting
sugar.
sugar. So,
On the whole 30, the sugar's what matters, right?
Not all the toxins.
So, what current event-wise, what's going on? Anything? Britain has left
Yeah.
the EU.
The Brexit.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? You got any thoughts? It cracks
No.
me up that Edie's 21 now, and she's much more politically
Very
inclined
much
than
She's
she ever was
extremely
when she lived at home.
conservative.
And so she texts me like at 12 o'clock night before last. And she's like, so what do you think about this?
She definitely is not the standard thought process probably for her age group, so
Yeah.
for her demographic. So it's, for all the negative, there's some positive. I think that if I was a sovereign nation, I wouldn't want to be tied down to the laws and rulings of anybody else. That's what I
Right.
think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty big hiccup for the U.S. financially for a minute, but
Yeah, I know the Dow dropped like 600 points.
there's like a 7% drop. And then we also, I think we're going to see it in the banks are going to tighten up lending. I think we're going to see a lot of house sales stop, and I think a lot of lending is going to
Great
stop
time
too.
to get your real estate license. Oh wait, I am.
Yeah, so about
It'll be
that,
fun.
Crystal's quit her job. She's going to go into real estate. It's good.
Awesome.
It's good.
Like,
No, it's good.
It'll be good.
It will
I
be
think
good.
so.
I'll work at your sign shop.
especially being here, there's, Nashville's, its trajectory of growth is huge.
Yeah.
So
It's like
you're-
through the roof right now.
you're- You'll be good.
I'll be fine.
Mhm.
I'll be good. So that's it.
Yeah. Anything
What else? Anything else?
Orlando.
Orlando.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough
It's scary.
It's a tough one.
one. I will
Shooting
say
gators.
I will, oh yeah.
All of it.
That was
All of it, the
terrible.
gators.
Crazy.
Can you
Oh.
imagine?
Oh yeah.
Horrifying.
And the people are just like being so cruel to that family.
The kid was like his ankles were in the water, and so they're attacking the parents. I'm like, really? Like, who would think that?
Yeah.
I think it could have happened to anybody.
Anybody?
Oh, yeah.
Anybody?
Absolutely.
And the dad. It could have happened to the dad
Yeah.
instead of the boy.
Yeah. I mean, it was just a
Yeah.
horrifically terrible accident. You know.
And I think the shooting at the nightclub thing, you know, I think we talked about that this morning at church too, but I do think it does speak mounds, you know, when you've got Chick-fil-A, a Christian company that's open up to serve food. I think that's what the response is and what it should be. You know, I think as Christians, we're always very quick to let everybody know what we're against and not what we're for.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive that they did.
Yeah. Yeah, sin is sin. Everybody has it, you know.
Absolutely.
And I think that one sin's no worse than another. But I think our response and how we show love and how we minister to people is what we're supposed to be doing.
And ultimately, that's where the rubber hits the road. You know, if you don't do that, you can say whatever you want, but if you're not doing anything with it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
True.
for sure.
So,
All right, so enough about current events. Let's talk about Brendan.
now
So tell us a little bit first about how you guys met, and then kind of how your relationship progressed.
You want to start, and I'll
Yeah.
add in or
Sure.
join in on that? Yeah.
I've lived here my whole life, and Brendan's from Seattle. And short version of the story is his brother moved here with his girlfriend at the time, who's also Sabrina. They're now married. They got married last year, have a baby on the way. And then Brendan kind of followed, like a year, 2 years?
A couple years after Bobby had.
And I'm good friends with her sister. And now me and the other Sabrina are good friends too. But they kind of had, even before he moved here, I had heard about him through them. And I was actually
So cool. You
dating,
should meet Brandon.
yeah, dating someone else at the time. And then we broke up, and she was like, "You really?" And I was like, "I just don't, like, whatever." Wasn't looking for anything. And I think we were actually supposed to meet at Sam, my friend, her birthday party. It was like a little Halloween costume type thing, and my car broke down like the day before, and so I didn't get to go. I was stuck at home, which I think was kind of like a good thing, because I think it was still a little too early for me, and maybe for
Wasn't
him
the time
too.
yet.
Yeah, it wasn't the right time, and so we finally ended up meeting for his brother's birthday over at their house as well. We were the only two single people there.
that's where it's obvious
Yes.
what everybody's trying to do.
And
Pretty much. Yeah.
Sam's husband, Taylor, who was in our wedding, was like, and I was like, stop, like, no. And
He
so,
was,
yeah. And so then I think we like kind of talked a little bit that night. Nothing like
we didn't talk a lot.
we didn't.
It
No, like
wasn't like,
rainbows
oh, we
and
hit it off. It was like,
No.
Hey, I'm Sabrina.
nice to meet
Yeah.
you, and like.
I think I probably talked about my dog.
You what?
So I think I probably talked about Edgy.
You did. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I like boxers. I like dogs. It was a very.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't. I guess it's safe to say that sparks weren't flying.
Yeah.
It was just like
We were
nice to
both
meet you,
like,
we chit chatted, whatever.
We get it.
It
We're
was
the only
what it
single
was.
people here. This, whatever.
Yeah.
And then Sam had asked me to go to church with him. I'd gone to church that morning at Cornerstone, but I was like, nothing else to do, so I was like, sure. And
Church up.
yeah, might as well. And so she was like, Brandon's coming, by the way, and I was like, okay, here we go.
Reeled her
And
in.
so we went to church. They go to Life Church in Hendersonville, and then we went out to eat after, and that was kind of when we, I guess, really kind of got to know each other. And then I think I actually reached out to him first. I sent him a message on Facebook and was just kind of, hey, if you ever want to hang out, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I think you asked me, Sabrina's birthday is when we actually went out. It was like I guess our first official date, but it was with the group, so not too much pressure.
Just say.
Yeah, I asked her to
Yeah.
actually come with because it was like dinner and
Yeah.
we were going to go out after. And so
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
want to tag along
So
with
that
me?
was like the first official. And then I had knee surgery the next week and was like,
No bueno.
yeah, out of
Well.
commission for a while. So, but
So how long ago was that?
we'll be together 3 years in February.
February.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, the first time he came over to my house, I have those big, like...
Was this before the surgery or
You hadn't been to my house till after surgery.
Okay.
Because I had surgery that Wednesday.
Yeah.
I have those big concrete slabs, like the drainage. Mm-hmm. And I think I still had, like, my big old crazy knee brace on. And I had gone to bed, and I kept hearing something, and then I heard this knock on the door, and he was like, so I got stuck in your... He had backed over and had to call a tow truck.
I'm like, oh, man, she's going to think...
So you married a guy who can't drive.
Pretty much.
His driving does make me nervous sometimes. I constantly am putting my foot up on the dash, and I'm like, hey.
Well, you got my car all day yesterday. What's up?
He's a good driver. It's because I'm not in control. That's more the...
That didn't click for
That's more of the issue.
I was in my zone. Yeah, so we're hanging out at the house, and
it's easy to do though because the way my drive, it's dark and there's like no street lights, and it's if you don't know it's there,
that's still on the list. I need to put little lights right there because I've done it more than once. But that was our first. I was over that night, and we were chit chatting, watching TV, whatever. It was like close to 10, which is pretty late for us. And, we're all about 9 o'clock. In bed, like, alarm set for the next morning at 9 o'clock. So we're saying goodbye, and I get in the truck and I'm backing up, and I'm trying to. I get out of the truck. I'm like, oh my gosh,
I can't go to the door.
Yeah, totally. I had like some wood in the back of the truck. I'm trying to like. Rig it under there so I can hop out somehow, and not happening. So, knock on the door.
He was like, can I hang out for a minute? I had to call a tow truck.
Call the tow truck. Oh, man. But it was kind of funny because right then and there, I knew that I was going to be with her. Like, I was like, this is, I don't know what it was. It was just something in my head. It was like,
you're stuck.
You're gonna be, you're gonna be with this girl. Like you're definitely gonna date this girl. So
let's kind of step back. Did you grow up in church, Brendan?
I did. Not the most consistent, but it's kind of funny. My dad went to a private Christian church or school. Excuse me. Went to college at Northwest in Seattle. Sang in the choir, stuff like that. Didn't have a sip of alcohol until he's 21. Raised Baptist, everything like that. But they weren't really like strict on us about church and stuff like that. There came a point where we did go regular, which was awesome. So that really set the foundation for me. And then I got involved in Wednesday nights, youth groups, but very in and out.
Yeah.
So you had a foundation, you knew.
Yes. Yeah. And honestly, what was kind of cool about that, that was about 7th grade, the youth group stuff was when I really had this connection. Like, I can remember being in my room, watching TV, that guy, you're healed. Like, watching stuff, like watching preaching and stuff like that I always had this, like, calling, this my attention on that for sure, but it wasn't like lived out, 100%.
And Sabrina, did you grow up in church?
Kind of the same thing. Like my parents put me in private school, so I always had that. I went to Davidson, so we had chapel I think it was Tuesday, and then we were kind of in and out. Always grew up knowing that that's what my parents believed, and that sort of thing, but not where we were like had a church that we were involved in. And then up until, I was an adult, I'd say my parents have been at Cornerstone. I was trying to think about this earlier, like 7 or 8 years maybe. And they're very, sit in the same spot every single Sunday. So, and even as an adult, like I, started going with them and then kind of out and then back in, and then actually really before we started dating is when I was wanting to kind of get back into it, and this isn't the right mindset to have, but I just kind of was like, I don't want to be the single girl going at the 8 o'clock service sitting with my parents. Like, it's not about that, but that's just where my mind was at the time. And so I was going some, and then I don't know, we like, again, like I remember going and still having my knee brace on like very soon after my surgery, which, like I said, we had our first date. That Wednesday is when I had my knee surgery. So that we just started going, and I don't know, it was just kind of like we both kind of at that same point in our lives was like, okay, this is where we need to be. And, you know, I think always grew up knowing like that's where you need to be, but just getting there and being consistent with it and not
Truly
getting
not
getting distracted by other things of the world and that sort of thing. So,
And just for some context, Brandon, how tall are you?
6 foot.
And how tall are you, Sabrina?
say 4'11". I think I'm technically like 4'10" and a half or 3/4, something like that.
So I say that because for those of you who are not actually watching, you're just listening, there's a good height difference. And talking about church, it was funny this morning. I looked down from stage and I saw Brandon. I was like, oh, Sabrina must have had to go to work. And I was like, no, it's just behind that. I just couldn't see you.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's got to be frustrating sometimes.
It is.
There's like some tall people.
Yeah, she's doing this.
Time
Yeah.
to time. I'm like, she's got to have to lean way over to see the words.
Yeah, I do.
On his shoulders.
Yeah. Nice.
Sorry, no short jokes.
Oh, it's
No,
fine.
it's awesome.
I'm used to it. What's funny too is like today, my parents usually I think sit in like the 4th or 5th row back, and we got there and I was like, whoa, they had moved one row up because I forget somebody wasn't there, and I felt like that much closer. I was like, we just moved one row up, and I felt like we're like in, you know,
You get under
I
the
like
brighter
that.
light.
yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
but
So, kind of both of a foundation in church, but you
Yeah.
didn't really find your stride until you kind of got together. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's cool. And so you guys have been at Cornerstone for a little while, and you kind of plugged in. You guys were in our marriage class, and that's kind of where we got to know you at. And we talked about finances one night in class, and like literally the next day, Brandon texted me, and he was like, "Hey, can we meet with you guys? We had the worst fight we've ever had."
And that's
After
the
that-
easiest topic. I mean, it seems like the easiest one.
Yeah, we left that class like thinking, okay, cool, you know. Like,
we were probably not even in the
We'll
car
be-
like 5 minutes, and it was like,
and then it built up. Yeah.
and I mean, he used to say, like, when we first started dating, like, stop yelling. I was like, this isn't me yelling. And he,
Yelling. We get
yeah. Still, I don't think he's ever seen me, like, yell or heard me
You'll
yell.
know it when it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that was definitely the most heated argument we have ever had.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So we're doing good. I mean, yeah.
It's only up from here. Right?
Absolutely.
And I will say, before I get into this next little part of the story, I have been so impressed by both of you guys. And every time that we're around you, we talk to you, and I had dinner with Brandon earlier this week, and just spending time with you guys, you're both very hungry for God and for, you know, putting God at the center of your marriage and relationship. And so that's impressed me since we've met you guys. And you know, we sat down and we talked to them about the finances and a couple of other things, and I thought you guys were living together, but I didn't know that. And so as we're
He's
just
a
sitting there,
Facebook stalker, and like he's Mr. like.
I wasn't friends with
thing.
them on Facebook at that point.
No.
I
You just thought it.
Just listened to them talk. And so I just asked him, I said, are you guys living together? And Brandon said, yeah. And I said, are you having sex? And he said, yeah.
I think it was like, yeah, and I looked at her and I was like, yeah. Yeah, we are.
Yes, we are.
Isn't that what you do when you live?
Can't lie.
Yeah. And so I said, stop. I said, you know what? God's not gonna honor you. I said, you want to be sure that you're honoring Sabrina before you get married. I know that you want to do that. And he's like, yeah, absolutely. And so, you know, the week, I think maybe before you guys got married, we were standing in service one day. And we hadn't had a lot of conversations in that period of time. They weren't in our class anymore. That class had ended, and so, you know, just talking to them peripherally, and they walked up to us one day, and we're standing in the sanctuary, and Brandon said, just so you know, since we had that conversation.
Yeah, we
I know.
I'm like, that is so awesome.
Yeah.
So
In this
yeah,
day and age, that's huge.
it is.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to have a drink of water. But, you know, I just want to say that just so impressed me because, again, I think it just it points back to the fact that I think that you guys are trying to build that right foundation and do the right thing and really seek out what that is and establish that. And I see, you rising up as the head of your house and being like, you know what, we're going to do this the right way. And I think God really, truly honors that. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Yeah.
So I got a question. With the finances, heated argument, what was the basis of it? Was it the spending? Was it the saving? Was it the budgeting?
It was, growing up, my parents still do this. I remember just always seeing my parents at the kitchen table, my mom with calculator and checkbook. I mean, they did everything together. So I just assumed that's what we would do. And he was thinking that we would have one together, but then have our own separate. And I was like, why? Like, what? And it was kind of one of those things of, like, each other's debts, I think. And I was like, well, but I'm not just sitting at home doing nothing while you're working and paying for everything. Like, I go to work too, and I'm contributing as well. And it just kind of, I got defensive and he got defensive, and there was no, like, we weren't going to solve it in that moment, because we were both like,
back away.
Yeah.
It was the fact of joining, taking two accounts, making it one.
Joining your life together.
And that's where we are very thankful to you guys for the premarital class, because it really opened our eyes to a lot.
I was just I think, and I don't think he realized this at the time, because I know this is never his intentions. I was just very hurt, like,
she said it. It's doing it your way. That's not biblical.
Yeah.
And so
I was that night. I was like on my phone looking at the and I was like sending him stuff. I was like, "See, right there,"
which is awesome.
Which always makes it better.
In fact, to really sweeten the story, if you will, it got to the point where I got hot-headed and I was like, I'm leaving, and I packed a bag and I went to my brother's house and I stayed the night, because I was like, I'm not gonna say anymore. I'm not gonna make this worse, but I'm out. Like, I had to walk away, and
that really
wasn't good either. But so
lessons learned.
Yes.
But it was one day you didn't have to worry about having sex.
I might have to stay here until we're married.
But it always goes back to having different expectations, and until you realize that you don't have the same ones, you don't know it's a problem until it's a problem.
For sure.
So how do you have the skills to deal with it?
Right.
And we still, just because we did the Dave Ramsey thing and trying to work out our budget, like, I think this morning I was like, so I think we need to sit down tonight and later. And he was like, that was like probably the second sentence I said to him, and I was like, well, I'm very.
First thing tomorrow, we're talking about money. I would just gotten that, But
I can't.
No, since the Dave Ramsey thing, though.
Sorry.
That also was a big eye opener, and I'm really glad that we did it.
We really
because
liked that class.
it totally makes sense how 2 or 1 and everything, and joining the accounts, that is the right way. It's not half and half. It's 100 and 100, and it's so. Absolutely. I'm all there. It's good. We've done our budget, and I think we're doing well with it.
That's awesome.
And so I think tonight we'll finish for June, right?
Yeah.
So.
Not first thing this morning, but tonight.
I just like to, if it pops in my head and I'm like, oh, and then I say it, and I don't mean we have to do it right now. I just mean
that's me too. And he's like,
same. So
a minute ago I was like, we need to repaint these walls while the girls are on vacation. Like, I need to
should we go to the list of things that we did yesterday around the house? So we trimmed the shrubs, we mulched, we pressure.
We did.
We did.
I didn't pressure wash.
Yeah,
no.
I pressure washed while she planted. No, you didn't plant flowers. You put together some furniture. We hung
did
lights,
dishes and laundry, and
and we went to Home Depot and Lowe's and Sam's
and Big Lots
and
quite the shopping day.
World Market.
There you go.
Yeah, and then got done with all that, and then I grilled, and we ate dinner, and the house was a train wreck from just going all day. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna get the house cleaned up, and I'm going to bed. And I went, oh, I haven't edited the podcast yet. So I didn't sit down last night to start editing till like 9:30, and I was like, It was so bad. I took 2 showers yesterday. That's how bad it was. Like, it just being dirty and nasty. Anyway.
But I have a constant list as well.
Yeah.
And it's like when I think of it, it has to just come out of my mouth, and it's not his favorite thing.
Yeah.
Pressure of, oh my God, I have to do that. Like,
Yeah, I feel
Where I'm
that
like,
way.
no, I'm
Sense
just
too,
talking.
yeah.
I'm just talking about it. Like, we don't have to do it right now.
I feel the list getting longer.
It's
Yeah.
all necessary stuff.
You need to mark it off faster.
I do like a list though. Like, if
Yeah.
you get a list going, it's like I can see it, check it off, and that feels good. That's like it feels good to accomplish something.
So before you guys got married, what was I don't want to use the word fear, but like what were you most anxious about before getting married? Like what was the thing that you're like, man, how are we going to get over this, or what's this going to be like?
It's a good question.
I don't really know. I wasn't really like everybody, I guess, which I know it's like wedding day type thing. You're always a little nervous, but like I wasn't really nervous or anxious about like getting married. I was nervous about like everybody watching me and being the center of attention, or even just marriage in general. I felt like we really had tried to set a good foundation, and like there wasn't anything, I went into it really feeling, or I still feel this way, that like I know I can depend on him. I know that neither one of us are going anywhere, and that's something that I've never had before, that type of security. And so but I don't know, was there anything you were...
Are both of your
No.
parents still married?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a great example.
How many years
Great
your mom and dad?
foundation.
I don't know. My mom was 19. Like they've got to be coming up on 50, or maybe it is more than 50. I don't know. I'd have to do
I
the
think my
math.
parents are like 36 years.
So you have good examples.
Yeah,
You have
yeah,
good.
definitely,
That's great.
definitely
Yeah.
fun, loving parents. Like, yeah, they're awesome.
Great.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you see in your parents' marriage that you've carried over into yours? Like things that came from them because you saw them do it?
Well, the bill.
Yeah.
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 I was going to say the finance stuff. It's kind of funny because we talked about this after that fight, that heated discussion. I told her, I said, I can't think of anything my parents, like that, any sort of, like that. It was they always fought about money. I can remember being very young, door slammed and yelling about money. And I was like, I don't ever want to be like that.
Yeah.
And we had that argument, and it was kind of like, whoa, that's weird, but otherwise, no, I don't.
And my parents,
Just
they are a
the
little...
love they showed, affection they showed in
Yeah.
front of people, and I'm very
Yeah. That was
affectionate and.
one thing. I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. Just
Whereas, like, my parents are very, like
Opposite.
when they first got married, they did the envelope thing, and they were like, we did that before Dave Ramsey even, like,
Before there was a kit you could buy.
And so, and that's where I get probably my OCD is like, you gotta take care of this and make sure, but, and probably more my dad, the way he shows love is by like action. He's not a touchy person. Every time I see him, is your car running okay? And it's, that kind of thing.
Right.
My mom's, a little more, she'll, hug and all that, but there's never been a lot of like affection in my household, like open, it's always been kind of a little bit of an uncomfortable thing. Whereas his family is one, they're huge, like he has a huge family, and they're all like,
huggers and
yes.
kissers
and so
yeah.
it's good though, because for instance at the wedding, like my dad's pretty shy and laid back, and his mom got my dad out there on the dance floor, and like that was the first time in my life I've ever even seen my parents dance together, like yeah. And
They
so,
enjoyed that.
yes,
They
they
did.
did.
They had a
And
great
so
time.
it's a good balance of, and that same way too, like I'm better, but I'm always not necessarily touchy-feely, and he is, so, it helps bring it out of me. I am more now, I think. He's like, no.
No, you're good.
He's like, you don't stand there.
But I'm very like, it's important to me, like, wake up, kiss you good morning, kiss you good night, or, like I tell her repeatedly, I love you. It's like, whether it's text,
Yeah.
in person, obviously, you know, it's just natural for me. So, and that's through my parents for sure.
Yeah.
That's a great example of what you grow up around is
Yeah.
what you are, and you don't even know that it's there until
Right.
there it is. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
It's
My
interesting.
grandparents too, and because they even more so than my parents. My dad was more like your family, and
Yeah.
my mom and her parents, very lovey, like open doors to anybody. You know, Christmas Day was like, you know, if we don't know you, you're welcome with open arms and feed you, and
Love that.
you know, yeah. So they're amazing people. Yeah.
What would you say was the worst and the best piece of advice you got before you got married?
Oh, that is a good one. I really have to think about that for a minute.
Because everybody has their advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone gives it.
And most people are dysfunctional. Most
Yeah.
relationships are.
That, you know what's kind of funny? I feel like a lot of people who give advice, I would say outside church,
Even inside church.
I'm sure. It just hasn't really. That's the thing. Can't think of anybody who, other than you guys, like giving advice. But their advice is always ends with a negative aspect to it, and it's like, you know, especially about finances. And it's just like, I had this guy say a comment at work the other day, and you know, about I gotta check in with the wife, and it just the way he approached the whole thing, it just sounded super negative, and I just was like, that's not how we are. So
Yeah.
we're good. Like
The old ball and chain.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Well, at work, I'm surrounded by lots of elderly people, my patients, and so this one man, he told me jokingly, of course, but he said when his daughter got married, he got her a big cast iron skillet, and had like her name put on it or something, and told her to whack him upside the head if he ever. And I was like, and he was just like, men are liars and they're this, and I was like, I'm not marrying that kind of
that's
person,
not
so
who I'm marrying.
I don't need a skillet. I'm good.
Maybe for some cornbread.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like not a lot of people really pushed like, oh, you should do this or don't do that or whatever.
Yeah, I can't think of anything specific. It's
Yeah.
more like taking good advice from people that we know we can look up to, like you guys. And I would say the number one example would be Sam and Tay.
Yeah.
Everything Tay speaks is positivity, and you know, he gave us advice like on the wedding night was like, stay with your wife. Like,
Yeah.
don't worry about saying hi to every single person that's there and say thank you and this and that. He's like, wherever you go, be with your wife, like,
Yeah.
because
That's good advice.
it's gonna just fly by, and it did. And I think we were really good about staying next to each other,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
My
stuff
parents
like
too,
that.
probably. I mean, because they're here. His parents aren't here, so
Yeah.
they're here, and
Yeah.
so we're they are though. They're coming.
Yeah, they better be.
And
doing it.
so just, you know, they of course like the finances and all, you know, do your budget and always talk about it, and you know, probably more so from like my mom. My dad's more of like the stuff you need to take care of, and my mom's more of, you know, that kind of advice of, you know, talk about things and
Yeah, communication and
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
for
And
sure.
my mom, just love each other. You know, just tell me you love her every day. I'm like, I do. Thanks, Mom.
Well, at the end of it all, you know,
Yeah, no, for sure. So, but hey, I guess nothing really too specific.
no.
Cool.
I have an important question.
Yeah.
How many tattoos do you have? What's
Every-
your count?
11? 12? Something like that. I got a big one on my back. So
What's funny is my mom's little brother was like your typical Harley Davidson, long hair, beard, tattoos everywhere, and I was petrified of him until I was like 4 years old.
Aw.
And then I don't remember this, but something happened. She said it was on my 4th birthday. We were out to eat at Shoney's, and I was just asked him to sit next to me, and he like. That was like the best day of his life, and then after that, I like didn't want him out of my sight. I don't know what happened, and so yeah, that was like one of the things my dad said.
yeah,
They got forced to like have breakfast one day. My mom took a fall, and so I had to rush her to the emergency room real quick. And so
He's like, I go to Cracker Barrel? Nope.
And so that was one
That's
of
a
their.
spot, Cracker
Yeah. He was like, she didn't even like, tattoo, which they don't mind it.
She's scared of guys with tattoos, and now she's married one.
Yeah.
It's like, yep.
Yeah. So.
So, did you guys find out after you were married, or since you've been together, about like quirks that you have, like when you're living in the same place, and do you leave clothes on the floor? Is there anything that you're like, oh, that drives me crazy?
Yeah, she.
Whatever.
So I'll just throw you under the bus. She leaves stuff out. Like, and my thing is the water cup. She'll have water, and then be done with it. Set it on the counter, and then later in the day get another cup. She won't use that same cup, and then so all of a sudden there's an accumulation of cups. Or the clothes stuff too. She throws her clothes on the floor, getting like into the shower or whatever, and but then the days that she works, those are the days she's working. The days she doesn't work, she's tidy. You know what I mean? So
I kind of, when I'm working, I'm like,
we both kind of do that.
whatever.
One thing one day.
Yeah.
It's like,
Especially
it's like I'm
like-
working, so
If it's
it
like
is what it is.
when I get home at 8 o'clock at night and I have to be back there at 6:45 the next morning, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm good. But
That's funny. I'm the opposite. Sometimes I'll think, how many days have I been using the same cup?
That's what I do. That's what I do. I'll
why
use
if
that
I
one
can't
cup
remember,
for
I
like
need to
4 or 5
change
days,
it.
and then it's like, okay.
that sometimes like bugs me about him. I'm like, I know this cup has been on this counter for 3 days now. I'm gonna put
Is
it.
this yours? I don't know. Well, it's not mine.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's about it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just
He has his corner. That
I do have a corner.
I'll clean, but I never touch the corner because I don't know what.
That
clean,
that big,
I don't
the
know
corner,
what,
not
yeah.
touched.
Don't touch the corner.
I don't expect you
His
to.
probably his biggest thing, and he knows this, is he is such a, like, we're both kind of OCD, but maybe about different things. Like, I fold the towels a certain way, and he doesn't understand that. But
Fold them, get it done.
he loves like boxes and like at Christmas.
I'm not a hoarder, but she's right.
Like today, we ordered the Quelo rings, the little silicone. Yes. And it comes in a nice zip pouch, like for your ring.
Right.
Well, then there was like this little plastic
Perfect little
baggie, and he was like,
plastic
"This is a perfect." And I was like, "What are you going to use that for?" And he was like, "I don't know." And I was like, "Throw it
Unless
away."
you're like selling drugs on the side.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. I was like, "What are you going to use that for?" He's like, "I don't know."
What's a
And
dime bag?
I have an accumulation of pens and notebooks and stuff that same.
Yeah.
Like I don't care. I like different sizes and shapes and colors and.
And it comes from the boxes and stuff. It's like every year, like Christmas comes around, and you need a box to send presents. Always. Like my mom, I can remember my mom going and buying boxes, spending Lord knows how much on boxes, and it's like we throw them all out. Everybody opens it up and just throws them away, and it's like,
What do you use
break
your
them
extra
down.
battery for?
Let's make a
Christmas boxes.
Let's make a pile, And so I do the Advocare thing, and I got all these Advocare boxes. I'm like, these are perfect to send gifts to people. Like, we're keeping them, I got this. I try. Yeah.
That's great.
So
the other thing's the pallet. He brings pallets home like every
gotta
day
have
because he does like he made our cute little coffee table, and he's making our dogs a little like
little
whenever-
food.
food
bowl
stand.
station.
But there's like a ton of them on the side of the house, and I'm like,
They're starting to accumulate.
and we don't have a garage. There's a crawl space, but I'm like, he's like, I'm gonna make stuff. I'm like, okay, well, we'll get to making something,
Yeah.
please.
When?
I'm like, stop bringing pallets home until you make a few things.
Yeah.
That's all I ask.
Yeah.
And then he
So-
gets frustrated, and I'm like, I'm not
so I
upset. I'm not
tackled that.
upset. I'm like, just, it's my anxiety, and I just have to get it out and let you know.
Yeah, time to really start making stuff.
But it's, I mean,
It's fun.
at the end of the
I
day,
enjoy
sometimes I just don't even say anything because I'm like, I don't want to upset him, and it's really not that big of a deal. So
I'd rather you say something.
That's good though that you're figuring that out
Yeah.
early
Yeah.
on. Things that matter and things that don't. Because most
Absolutely.
people married 10, 12 years before they start going, God, this really doesn't matter. And
Doesn't
I've made
matter.
a big issue out of this for no reason.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
So we
I think-
know to save our boxes any boxes.
I think they're good. I think they're good.
We can borrow boxes from
That's
her.
right.
Yeah.
I need a smart box. So, all right, last question. Well, maybe last question. What's the one piece of advice that you would give to a couple that's engaged and maybe getting ready to get married?
Definitely if you are said stop. It really, I mean, I really felt like it made a difference, and
It did.
I don't know, it
was difficult, but
but
the importance of it is more than worth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was definitely more than worth it.
I think God honors that. I think God says, "Oh, you know what? I see the heart behind that."
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I was trying to show. And
Yeah.
and just really like, I'm probably more quiet naturally just as a person, but even in like my spirituality and stuff, like I'm more of a introvert when it comes to that thing and my own time with it and things like that, whereas he's more outspoken about it. But we both have the understanding and know that like God's in the center of it. And I have friends that have had troubles through their marriage and stuff, and it's like you just want to say, like, if you would, it really makes it a lot easier. And just knowing that both of us, that's our goal, is to build that kind of family and those kind of values. And and if you have any like doubts, like that's I mean, that says something. Like I don't know, I've just being with Brandon and the kind of relationship we've had, it's totally different and opposite of anything I ever had, and I'm so thankful that I waited for him.
That's awesome.
Likewise.
All right, any embarrassing stories?
I think the ditch was probably the most embarrassing for you, but I don't know.
I don't really have any.
Brandon got really burnt on our honeymoon.
I did.
It's not too embarrassing, but
No.
it was just one of those things where I kept saying, I was like, you need to get some sun before we go. I'm okay.
Nope, I'll just sit under a canopy and put a towel and blah, blah,
I sure did.
Which is great.
Had to heal for a day or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where'd you guys go?
Punta Cana.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was
beautiful.
really nice.
Yeah.
Very pretty.
Well, I'm impressed with you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Trying.
Yeah. Trying to get off on the right start.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Hanging out with us. And we didn't talk about the cookies. Crystal did make
It's a big
I did.
mountain.
the good
I know.
cookies.
Let's
They're
eat
very
some
good.
cookies.
Yeah, you'll have to take some home. We send them home with people too, so we don't
Awesome.
have them all here
Thank
to
you.
get fatter than we are. So
I've discovered I like the dough a lot more than I thought I did.
Yeah.
I was like, one for the board and one for me.
I walked in the bedroom
I've eaten like
this
12.
afternoon, and I heard her munching. And I'm like, "What are you eating?" She's like, "I'm not." I said, "You're lying." She's like, "Cookie dough. I'm eating cookie dough."
Shut up.
So,
So good.
all right.
story.
Well, thanks, guys, and
Thank you.
always go to the website sundayeveningcoffee.com and send us an email sundayeveningcoffee@gmail.com. And we're going back and forth still. We're doing an episode with a topic or a couple, and then the second episode of the month, it's always the question one, and that's always fun. I've actually come to like those pretty good.
I like
so
those.
yeah,
So if you have any questions,
send them. Yeah, for
Cool.
sure.
I'm
Will
coming
do.
up with some tricky ones. Just wait.
Wow. Call you tricky. All right, so you guys have a good night. We'll see you next time on Sunday Evening Coffee.